Just like that, the Miami Dolphins are in the playoffs. Uh, we're in the playoffs. What is up, Finn fans? Miami Dolphins beat the New York Jets 11-6. It was 9-6, but it was a safety because they were trying to do too much, and we won. Miami Dolphins won. There's a lot to talk about. A lot of good, a lot of bad, a lot of ugly. We will talk about all of that, but like usual, let's jump into stats. We'll start with Joe Flacco, 18 for 33, 149 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions, a 66.4 passer rating. Knight, 12 carries, 22 yards. We shut down their run game. It's their offensive line was decimated. Garrett Wilson was owning Xavier Howard, 9 catches, 89 yards. Other than that, they weren't doing anything on offense. 1 sack from Quincy Williams. Pretty good by the offensive line, especially with the injuries that were happening. And then on the Dolphins side, Skylar Thompson, 20 for 31, 152 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, a 76.3 passer rating. I'll talk about him. We got a lot of pushback on Twitter from some people because I wasn't as high on Skylar Thompson's performance today, and I don't understand why. Jeff Wilson, 16 carries, 72 yards. Raheem Mostert, 11 carries, 71 yards. I feel like they both would have, Raheem Mostert would have had over 100 yards rushing again against the Jets if he didn't injure his thumb. Mike Gesicki, 4 catches, 46 yards. Jalen Waddle, 5 catches, 44. Durham Smythe, 3 for 39. And Tyreek Hill, 2 for 23. No sacks. Our defense got no sacks against an offensive line where everyone was out. Are you kidding me? I like that. I just noticed this. Let me see if I can show you. I just noticed this. If you look here, they gave Connor Williams the fumble and they give Skylar Thompson the reception. I like that because the snap there, he wasn't ready for it because it wasn't the right snap count. I also want to look at other stats, right? So total yards, Miami Dolphins had 302 total yards on offense, 187 for the Jets. No turnovers. First downs, Dolphins had 17, Jets had 11. The Miami Dolphins had the ball for 35 minutes, 25 seconds. The Jets had it for 24 minutes and 35 seconds. Let's jump into this, and I'm going to talk about Skylar Thompson. Skylar Thompson didn't make any mistakes. He didn't make any stupid throws. He didn't cost the Dolphins the game. 100% agree with that. But I've seen people on Twitter say that Skylar Thompson got the Dolphins to the playoffs and are kind of giving this win to Skylar Thompson. And that's where I disagree. And that's where I push back a little bit and I say no. Because Skylar didn't do anything to cost the Dolphins the game, but he also didn't do anything to win the Dolphins the game. And yes, we kicked 3 field goals. The last field goal got us into a field goal range because of the horse collar. But Skylar did whatever he could. That being said, though, Skylar also didn't have a great, he had a 76.3 passer rating. Right? It wasn't great. It wasn't horrible, but he was missing wide open guys. And we'll see it in the film breakdown. He was holding the ball too long. He was pump faking a little too much. Like, he needed to realize he didn't have that much time in the pocket to either make the decision to run with it or, get the ball out quick to your checkdowns, all that stuff. Now, that being said, Skylar Thompson's a 7th round pick. And that's the other thing I hear. A 7th round pick just took you guys to the playoffs. Again, that's where I push back. Did Skylar take us to the playoffs? Or did Jason Sanders kicking 50-something yard field goals? How many field goals? The man he was 3 for 3 long of 50 yards, right? He was kicking 50-yard field goals, 40 to 50-yard field goals from their 30, 35 at some points. And the 7th round pick, Doug. Yeah, but then you look at Brock Purdy making the reads, throwing the quick passes, helping the 49ers out. I'll say this. And I've said this during the film breakdown, and I've said this a ton. Skylar Thompson has a lot of potential. And I think with the right time and learning and getting out, the moment was too big for him. That's what I took. You disagree, that is it. But that's what I took. The moment was a little too big for him, and you could see by his hesitation, by his pump faking when he didn't need to, by, he was in his head a little bit too much. He was very fidgety. Moment was a little too big for him. He didn't make the mistakes. I'm very happy about that. I'm very happy we won. We're in the playoffs. But to say Skylar won the game for the Dolphins and Skylar is the reason the Dolphins are in the playoffs, I wholeheartedly disagree. It was the defense and it was Sanders' leg. But again, I will reiterate this because people are going to construe what I'm saying. Skylar has a bright future, and I think he is going to be. I think he'll be a backup next year. I like Skylar Thompson a lot. He just needs to. He has the arm. He just needs to trust his arm and throw the ball. Like I said, we'll look at it on the film breakdown tomorrow. No, Tuesday. So now let me go into the little notes that I jot down while I'm live streaming. Little. False started, and that man ran about 6 yards back. Horrible. 3rd and 12. We run a screenplay. Again, it's because, they didn't trust Skylar to make the throws, to make the reads. So a lot of times when it was 3rd and long or 3rd and some yardage, they would have him do the easy things and trust our defense. I don't hate that. 4th and 5. Skylar holds the ball a little too long. The defense was making the stops, right? They were getting the pressure on Joe Flacco, but they weren't getting the sacks. And a lot of that had to do in certain situations. And again, this is my bone, and this is where I have my problem with Josh Boyer, is in 3rd down plays, he would, like, it was 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, he'd give the wide receivers about an 8-yard cushion. Do you know how hard that is for your pass rush to get after the quarterback if he can throw a quick pass because your guy's wide open? Hike the ball, look over, you can quick slant, throw the ball. Like on these 3rd downs, they just kept dropping back into coverage, driving me nuts. Connor Williams, bad snap. I'm assuming he didn't know what I will say this too, and this is another excuse for Skylar Thompson for people saying that I'm hating on Skylar Thompson, which makes me laugh. They couldn't get the calls in. The helmets weren't working, so that also was not in Skylar Thompson's favor. But the bad snap, I think Connor Williams and Skylar were on 2 different snap counts because Skylar tapped his helmet to change the play, and then Connor Williams snapped the ball, and that ball was high. So even if he was ready for the snap, instead of it being here, Skylar would have had to jump up, and that does throw your time off. Again, I keep bringing up the fact that Connor Williams is fantastic at blocking, either pass or running, but his snaps still scare the crap out of me. I keep writing, like, defense is doing their thing. There was some times where, we were playing that bend, not break. Again, we held them to 6 points. We were playing that bend, not break, and, Garrett Wilson was just eating Xavier Howard's lunch money. I don't know. You can't use the excuse of Xavier Howard not being 100% anymore. He was just getting manhandled by the rookie. Like, you are a Pro Bowler. You had 10 interceptions a few years ago. You used to be a top 5 corner in the NFL, and this rookie is taking your lunch money. Like, Joe Flacco would just target Garrett Wilson all game because X is just not there. X is just off and off and off. Drove me nuts. 1st and 10 on 1300. Oh. So it's 1st and 10. We're on their 13-yard line. And it was a pitch to Raheem Mostert. And the right tackle, Shell, and Robert Hunt block nobody. And they just start running downfield, and it's a tackle for a 10-yard loss. And we ended up kicking a field. Like, there were so many opportunities to score touchdowns. It just either missed open receivers, bad blocking, penalties, false start, all that stuff. The challenge. Let me talk about the challenge. Mike McDaniel's 0-5 on challenges. 0-5 on challenges. And he challenged the Garrett Wilson fumble. When it was obvious his knee was down and he was touched before the ball got punched out. So whoever is upstairs, because a lot of times, either a player or somebody else who has better eyes on it will come over to the head coach and say, you should challenge it. And then there's someone upstairs in the booth that will watch the replay and say, yeah, coach, challenge that. It looks like it wasn't completed. Or, yeah, challenge it. They need to be fired because the man lost all of them except for the 3rd and long where Garrett Wilson bobbled the ball and it was incomplete. Finally challenged it, made the right call. But again, like the Packers game when he threw it to the tight end, should have challenged that. He didn't. We ended up losing that game, but not off the challenge. Um, but overall, this was a messy game. And I will say this, right? My point of view of getting into the playoffs was just get in, right? Are we going to get Tua back? Are we going to get Armstead back? Or, is our offense going to be better? Is it going to churn better? We're worrying about Tyreek Hill. He's banged up. Jalen Waddle's banged up. A lot of this is happening. But are we going to get the guys who we haven't seen for the past 2 weeks back? Is that going to help this team? We have to head to Buffalo again. Now we're heading to Buffalo in January. I don't know if we'll be playing on Saturday or Sunday. I hope to God that we play on Sunday because I have something to do on Saturday. So it'll break my heart if we play on Saturday. I can't live stream. But we're in the playoffs. We made the playoffs 8-3, finished 9-8. Shouldn't have been this way. We should have clinched the playoffs a while ago. It's just bad offensive play, but we're in the playoffs. Now, it starts all over again, but this team, I made a video talking about their playoff team, and they're not, but they are because they made the playoffs. Can they shock the world and beat Buffalo in Buffalo? I doubt it. But again, we're going to root our heads off for it, and we're going to hope and pray that we shock the world again. The 2011 Seahawks, 2010 Seahawks, and 2011 Giants. 2010 Seahawks 7-9 beat the Saints. 2011 Giants 9-7. Made it to the Super Bowl, and they have the same stats on offense and defense that the Dolphins do. Can they pull it together? Can they play smart football? Can they stop with the penalties? Is Tua going to be back? If not, can Skylar make the reads? Can Skylar get out of his head? Continue to run the ball. We're having very good success running the ball, especially if we play Buffalo. There's a lot that goes into this, but overall, the Dolphins won. They are in the playoffs, and we got another week of Dolphins football, which means another week of film breakdown, another week of a preview. We have a lot to talk about. But again, Skylar needs to do a little bit better if we're going to beat Buffalo. If Tua's not there, Skylar needs to do better than he did today. Again, he didn't do enough to lose the game. Like, he didn't throw interceptions or fumbles or anything, but he also didn't do enough to win the game. He was just managing. He was just there. We need a little bit more out of Skylar. He needs to trust himself. And again, I'll point it out in the film breakdown. We'll look at Skylar, where he missed, where he was on, where the offensive line killed him. Because there were sometimes, Shell went down, and Robert Hunt went to right tackle. Jones went to right guard, and then they put Liam Eichenberg at left guard. At some points, he was getting free rushers at him. It was bad. So it's going to be interesting. But again, we're a playoff team, and we made it. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll dive deeper into this. We'll know more about Tua. We'll know about Armstead. We'll know more about a lot of these guys that ended up not playing. Will they play? More information will come out. But other than that, we made it. We did it. Things fell the way we needed to, and we won. I'll see you guys tomorrow. But like usual, stay classy. And fins out.